Friday evening and Saturday, we gathered, about a dozen of us gathered here to do the Investigating Life Vows workshop, which I found to be very powerful and inspiring. And so tonight I'm going to be talking more about vows. I'm going to talk about the Bodhisattva vows. The fundamental Bodhisattva vow is to awaken for the benefit of all beings. It's a very simply stated vow. I vow to awaken for the benefit of all beings. It's also a lifelong vow, because there's no end to awakening. And there's no end to benefiting all beings, or no end to the need to benefit all beings. The Dalai Lama's vow says it another way of saying the Bodhisattva vow, emphasizing that it's an endless vow. He says, and we chant it sometimes, for as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, so then may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. This is the Bodhisattva vow, to serve others, to care for others, before we ourselves necessarily enter nirvana or something. And Shakyamuni Buddha was the first exemplar of that. When he had his awakening under the Bodhi tree, he thought, maybe I'll just go into the woods and live a peaceful life without suffering. But he didn't do that. He took on 45 years of teaching, traveling, walking around, traveling, managing hundreds or thousands of monks in one of the first Buddhist institutions. And it was a lot of work, but he wanted to benefit beings. I vow to awaken. What is the awakening that we vow to do? Maizumi Roshi, our Dharma great-grandfather, he writes, at the moment of his great awakening, Shakyamuni Buddha said, how miraculous! All beings have the wisdom and virtue of the Tathagata Buddha. It's the same as what it said in our service sometimes. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing here and now. It's not that we have to train ourselves and purify ourselves and become so perfect over our whole lifetimes, or in some belief systems, multiple lifetimes, in order to awaken to the Buddha's truth. In our tradition, the Mahayana Zen tradition, we believe that everyone is endowed with the Buddha's awakening from the time of their birth. The task is to uncover it, to dispel the clouds of delusion of self. So the awakening is to wake up from the dream of the relative truth that we are our separate selves, and awaken to the reality, to the wisdom beyond wisdom, our inherent no-self and our inherent interdependence with everything. No separation that we are born with. And in the language of the Vows workshop that we did, which is the language from Sogen Roshi's book, The Vow-Powered Life, the four Bodhisattva vows could be considered as supporting vows for the Bodhisattva vow, the simple statement. And the four Bodhisattva vows can be considered to indicate different entries, different paths to enter into the fundamental Bodhisattva vow, to awaken to support all, to benefit all beings. So those four Bodhisattva vows, of course, beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. These are all different facets of getting into the basic Bodhisattva vow to awaken for the benefit of all beings. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. So from the relative view, as opposed to the absolute view, relative and absolute, that's two terms from Buddhism. From the relative view, it's impossible for one person to free all people on earth. Not to mention all sentient beings, including animals and plants, or all beings in the universe, assuming there's life on other parts of the universe. Probably is, I think. On the other hand, from the view of no separation, which is the teaching of the Dharma, if one place in the web of life becomes more free, then that makes the entire web of life more free. It benefits all beings. So the work we do on ourselves benefits all beings. Dogen writes about ways to benefit others in Shobogenzo, in a fascicle called Four Methods of Bodhisattva Guidance, guiding people to awakening. Those four methods are giving, kind speech, beneficial action, and identity action, something called identity action, or translated as identity action. Giving, of course, is dana, one of the paramitas that we read about, we study about, and we practice. We try to practice generosity and giving. Giving money, food, medicine, shelter, or other things that suffering people might need. Giving attention, listening, perhaps a few words of the Dharma. Dogen says this can guide people in the direction of awakening. This is something that we can do to help free other beings. Kind speech being understanding and sympathetic, listening compassionately, free from impatience, ill will, or deception, or from harm, harmless speech. This is another thing that can guide people towards awakening. Beneficial action is like helping somebody in need, taking them to the doctor, or becoming a doctor or a nurse to care for sick people. Or building housing like Habitat for Humanity. These are beneficial actions. Digging wells so that remote villages in Africa can have access to clean water. There's a young woman who established this organization that's now dug hundreds of wells in Africa for people that didn't have clean water. Such a beneficial action. Identity action is sincerely interacting with all people as our equals, regardless of race, age, gender, identity, nationality, their abilities, their religion, their politics, or any other distinctions or differences. We're all in the web of life together, and we're all pervaded with Buddha nature. We have original enlightenment, which is all covered up. Covered up by delusions, our delusions. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. It's all but impossible to end someone else's delusions. Anybody that's been in a committed relationship or marriage probably can relate to that. Right? And it's very difficult to see past through our own delusions. This is a lot of work to realize our beliefs, our orientations, our preferences, our values. That's all something that's built up. Maybe it's not based on reality or the lasting truths of an ethical system like Buddhism. Okay? And even if we do see through some of our delusions and question some of our stories about ourselves and about the world, or our narratives about life and other people, our brains continue to secrete thoughts. This is something Uchiyama uses as an image. Our brains secrete thoughts like a gland, secretes enzymes. And thoughts are delusions, and they're building blocks for greater delusions. And so we must endlessly recognize these thoughts that keep happening and release them. And our work of seeing into and seeing through our own delusions is part of the path towards freeing all beings. And so it's tied in with the first vow, by freeing them from the harmful effects of our own delusions. Joko Beck writes, true practice is about seeing how we hurt ourselves and others with deluded thinking and actions. It's seeing how we hurt people, perhaps simply because we're so lost in our own concerns that we can't see them. We can't hear them. We can't honor them and respect them. I don't think we really want to hurt others. It's just that we don't quite see what we're doing. So the vow to end delusion starts at home. And it's a lot of work to really see ourselves, to really question, why do I think the way I think? Why do I feel the way I feel? Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. One interpretation of this vow is to study, practice, and truly know the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha and all of the ancestors since then. And there's a huge library almost boundless. I mean, I suppose they're not limitless, but for one person to know them and study them is beyond one person's ability in a lifetime, I think. But study, thorough study and considering the Dharma is an essential part of our Zen tradition. Study and practice together. But another view of this statement, Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them, is that everything and everyone that we encounter in our life is an opening, it's a gateway. It's an opportunity for us to directly experience some aspect of the truth of the Dharma teachings and live them out through our own lives. This views the focus of a chant in our book called Liberation from All Obstructions. It's on page 75, and I'd like us to recite it together. Page 75. Sorry, folks, in Zoom. If you have a chant book, you can get it out, but I don't have it ready. Well, maybe Zenetsu will be quick on the draw here and be able to get Liberation from All Obstructions up there before we're finished. Liberation from all obstructions. Recite with me. In the presence of Sangha, in the light of Dharma, in oneness with Buddha, may my path to complete enlightenment benefit everyone. In this passing moment, karma ripens and all things come to be. I vow to affirm what is. If there's cost, I choose to pay. If there's need, I choose to give. If there's pain, I choose to feel. If there's sorrow, I choose to grieve. When burning, I choose heat. When calm, I choose peace. When starving, I choose hunger. When happy, I choose joy. Whom I encounter, I choose to meet. What I shoulder, I choose to bear. When it's my birth, I choose to live. When it's my death, I choose to die. Where this takes me, I choose to go. Being with what is, I respond to what is. This life is as real as a dream, and the one who knows it cannot be found, and truth is not a thing. Therefore, I vow to choose this Dharma entrance gate. May all Buddhas and wise ones help me live this vow. All of those ifs and whens are Dharma gates, that some of which we encounter from time to time. If there's a cost, if there's a need, if there's a pain, if there's sorrow, whom I encounter, what I shoulder, these are all Dharma gates that we encounter in our own lives. Every day, something. And it's a clear reminder that, we have the choice to embrace everything that comes towards us as an opportunity to practice and live the Dharma teachings. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Another translation is, I vow to attain it. I vow to attain the Buddha way. But then again, we were born. We were born with Buddha nature. It's not so much a matter of attaining, but to waking up to it. but we always chant embody, and it's a word I've often wondered about. What does that mean, to embody the Buddha way? And in a way, it's sort of my point of view, it affirms that our practice is fundamentally a body practice, to embody, not to understand, not to figure out the Buddha way, but to live it. I recently read a curious article about a man who I was drawn to because it uses the term embody. A man who studies embodied AI. This was an article, embodied AI. The integration of AI with physical systems like robots and vehicles. Embodied AI. I had never heard that term, and I thought, this definition, the integration of AI with physical systems, suggests that there, to me it suggests a parallel interpretation might be that embodying the Buddha way could be the integration of the Buddha Dharma with our own physical system, our own body, our own heart, our own thoughts, our own movements, embodying the Buddha Dharma. And then I looked up embody in the dictionary, and it was defined as to be an expression of or give a tangible or visible form to an idea, quality, or feeling. And their example is a team that embodies competitive spirit and skill, like business or sports. To be an expression of or give a tangible or visible form to the Buddha Dharma. This is a vow that our thoughts, words, and actions will give an expression to the Buddha Dharma. That the Buddha, and in a way, and Taigen mentioned this in the Vows workshop, we don't necessarily formulate the vows and take them on. They come through us. This fundamental vow of awakening for the benefit of all beings, if it's embodied, it's coming through us, right? In a way that gives a tangible or visible form to the Buddha Dharma. So, and I think this ties right back to the boundless Dharma gates vow, and which is, taking the choice of opening up to anything that happens as being a chance to live the Dharma, to embody ourselves in the Dharma and encounter other beings and do our best to have beneficial action and kind speech and identity action and so forth. But anyway, the four Bodhisattva vows, I feel, are four interrelated perspectives on the basic Bodhisattva vow to awaken for the benefit of all beings. Also, they're considered to be impossible to fulfill. We can't liberate all beings. We can hardly enter all Dharma gates. We can't, end delusions, and is it possible to fully embody the Buddha Dharma? I don't know, but let's keep investigating that, keep practicing. That's what we do. That's our work. May your practice embody the Buddha way.